What are some of the reasons why people don't use their essential oils after they buy them? Well, this is a really important question, and getting to the bottom of it could mean the difference between health and wellness and not so much. So I'm going to cover that in today's video, so stay tuned and don't go anywhere. Hey, this is Lance McGowan with Essential Oils Me, and understanding how your mind works, what your beliefs are going to be the main things that will help you overcome whatever hurdles or obstacles there are from where you are today to where you want to be with your health after you make a purchase with regards to essential oils, supplements, or any product really for that matter. But I'm going to use it in the context of kind of what I do and what I've been through also myself and what I see with my customers. So I'm going to cover that in the next section.
Hey, this is Lance McGowan with Essential Oils Me, and today we're going to talk about why essential oils aren't used more often or at all after you purchase them. And these are, some things that I have experienced myself, and I see this with my customers, and so I wanted to just create a video that kind of just helps build some awareness around all of these things that pop up. All right, so the main principle to keep in mind is that once you name it, you can deal with it. And so if we don't know what or why we do things, then when we do them, we just continue to do them and not know why. All right, so there's a little bit of like psychology involved here with regards to that, but the better you understand yourself, the better you can make better decisions, and the more education you get, the more educated decisions you can make. And so that's really the purpose of this, is just to name it so you can deal with it and then improve your quality of life, because that's what it's all about. All right, so really the first step after you purchase your oils, supplements, your kit, whatever it is, and this is, goes for my customers as well. There's, a little bit of a learning curve with regards to using all of these things. And so I always focus on educating about benefits and uses, because once you know those things, then you can just make better decisions with your health. All right, and so you want to baseline basically where you are. So where am I at today, with regards to my health and my wellness or lack thereof. And so that includes my emotions, that includes, what I'm going through with regards to digestion, energy, sleep, hormonal balance, you know, feeling under the weather, whatever it is. I need to understand what I'm going through, because the better I can understand the problem, the better I can find a solution. And so there is a little bit of like initial work, but that comes a lot that comes up in the classes that I teach anyway, and the wellness consults that I do. But this is kind of where to start, because you can't basically know where you're going to go if you don't know where you are. Kind of like GPS, right? All right, so one of the reasons why after somebody purchases oils, supplements, or a kit, that they don't use them at all, they collect dust, they become paperweights, is because there is a lack of awareness. And so you don't see someone else using them. And so if your immediate circle is made up of people that don't use essential oils, then you won't be reminded really to just use them. They say birds of a feather flock together, or they say you're an average of the five people you spend the most time with. That's from Jim Rohn. And so if the average of the five people you spend the most time with don't use essential oils, then you probably won't use them either. And so that's just kind of a reality. It doesn't have to be your reality. It's not my reality. I just kind of surround myself with at least one or two other people who use oils, and it's cool. We got a lot more to relate on. And it reminds me to be like, oh yeah, I do need to use that oil, or I do need to order that oil, or I do need to do this with that oil. And wait, what are the benefits of that one? What's the uses of this one? Like, it just gets me asking questions. And I look at it as like when we're growing up, and I got nieces and nephews, and I see I love kids, but when kids like have something like a toy, they'll be like, oh, they'll play with it, and then another kid will come by, and whether they've played with that toy or not before, they're kind of like, I want that toy now. They're kind of like, it's all of a sudden an attractive toy, even though there's like tons of other toys out there on the floor. They're just kind of like, I want what you have because you have it and I don't. It's kind of that Me Too philosophy. So if you don't have someone using essential oils around you, is my point, then you probably won't use them, or you'll be less likely to, unless you're just like a go-getter and you just make it happen. But anyways, the next reason why people don't use essential oils, that includes my customers, and used to be me as well, but not now, because I've kind of named these things and now I'm dealing with them. Is convenience. And so you have to take time away from something else to use the essential oils. And so when I am going through something, I have to stop what I'm doing and go grab a bottle, open up the cap, figure out how to use it. Well, hopefully I do that before. I have a number of resources, or I've used them often enough where I've memorized stuff. But if I don't, in the beginning, or what I see, customers do, they don't know how to use them, and so when you combine not knowing how to using them and not knowing the benefits, and then having to take time away from whatever you're doing, that could be kids, that could be work, that could be watching Netflix, TV. I don't know what it is. It could be entertainment things. It could be legit things like eating or something, right? But it's still taking your time away. You have to like be intentional, I guess is the point I'm trying to make with regards to using the oils. And it can be inconvenient at times if you haven't done something what so Tony Robbins talks about this, but he says like something can seem very overwhelming if you think about it in a lot of different steps. Like step 1, grab the oil, step 2, take off the cap, step 3, like if it's a lot of steps, you might get overwhelmed. And so the best thing to do is think of things in like batches, or in like, hey, I'm just going to get some energy right now. Like if you think of it that way, it's like, oh, well, if I'm gonna just get some energy, let me just grab, just get a peppermint and make it happen, right? Put a drop on the top of my hand, lick it off. And so it's all about how you think about things, and that's how I think about things. So for me, it's not an interruption in my daily life, it's a part of my life. So when I want that energy, or I'm like, man, I want my digestion to be on point right now, and boom, I just get some digest in, or so for me, that's about that mindset shift there. All right, the next reason why essential oils aren't used is because you may be afraid to ask for help, right? There's always a fear of rejection. It's like, hey, I don't feel comfortable asking a stranger. There's nobody around me locally, or I don't have, I haven't talked to my enroller or mentor or whoever it is, or or whatever the reason is. Whether you're a customer or you're new, sometimes we're just afraid to ask for help because of that fear of rejection. And I always just reassure people, like that's why I create so many YouTube videos, so you can kind of like learn from me, but not. I mean, it's kind of like one way, like I'm just talking and you're listening, but but it's cool. Like I always welcome my customers to call, text, email, carrier pigeon me anytime, because I'm really just here to help you and them get from where they are, which is what we talked about in the baseline, to where you want to be with your health and your wellness and your quality of life. And so I would say this is a very valid thing to go through, fear of rejection. But I would say when I do things, I just always make sure that I'm approachable, non-judgmental. I'm like, hey, we all got something going on in our life, so it's all about just helping you again get from where you are to where you want to be. All right, the next thing is belief system. So this is a big one. So another reason why people don't use their essential oils that they bought is that they're uncomfortable with behavior change, right? This kind of goes a little, it ties to convenience a little bit, but it's just another slice. So basically, what you think becomes what you say, and what you say becomes what you do. And that's the same thing for what you don't do. So even if there's a positive change that's required and you don't want to do it, or you just feel uncomfortable because it is a change, even if it's a change for the better, then I believe that it has to come down to your belief system. Um, thoughts are things. Thoughts are things. So what you think becomes the things that manifest in your life, whether you have a hand on it or you allow something to happen in your life. So for me, it's like, all right, well, how do I affect my belief system? Well, I have to understand that number one, I need to be open to natural solutions. I need to be open to using essential oils, and I need to have a learner's attitude with regards to understanding the benefits and uses of all the oils. And really, like I said, going back to that baseline, where am I at today? What do I need help with? What do I need a natural solution for? Where am I currently spending my money now? And how can I basically usher in that natural solution to replace, not add on additional costs, but replace what I was already spending, or what I could do to improve my quality of life. And it all starts with your questions that you ask. Like those are just a kind of a little bit of a questions that I ask, but that's what I do all the time. I'm like, all right, I used to spend money on this. How can I replace that with the Lifelong Vitality Pack? I used to spend money on this. How can I, use some peppermint oil? I used to spend money on that. How do I use lemon oil in my waters now? And so and then what's the benefits and what's the uses and how do I get? So yeah, it is a little bit of work at first, right? Because you got to learn, but life is a lifelong learning journey. So this really isn't any different. But and at the same time, you're just using these products to improve your health so you can do more at work and with your family, at vacations or your business, whatever it is. So this is really just when you once you affect or positively start focusing on your belief system, what you think. Remember, thoughts are things. So what you think becomes what you say becomes what you do or don't do. So this is going to be key. All right, so the fifth reason why people don't use their essential oils after they buy them is that they don't want to put in the work. I mean, just keep it real, right? I mean, I know that for me, when I was initially got it, I was like, man, I got this kit, 10 oils plus some other stuff. I don't even know how to use them. I mean, all the stuff they said in the class went over my head. I was like, this is work. Why can't I just go to the store and get something? But that's work too. I got to get in my car, drive, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's about priorities, and so it's about okay, I want to make sure I prioritize my health and wellness pretty high because, just like they say on the airplane, put the oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on the child next to you. You got to take care of yourself so you can take care of others. And so for me, that's a big priority. And I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to basically do that. So again, I need to understand all the benefits and uses and really just become a super user of the products. And for me, super user is kind of subjective with regards to how you define it. But for me, it's like one of my mentors in doTERRA, she says that, she always asks when she visits us from California, she comes to Las Vegas, she says, she always has us ask, like, how many of you are using, you know, have you used like 3 products today from doTERRA? And we, most of us raise our hand, and then she's like, how many of you have used like 5 products? And then, a few more, hands go down, and then how many of you used 10 or more products? And then a few more hands go down, and then I'm usually the one that still got my hand up after like 12, 13 products that I use every day. And you're probably like, wow, that's a lot. But it's not when you think about all the things that the oils and supplements and cleaning products and all these things, like all my kitchen, all this the herbs and stuff that got replaced with oils in my kitchen for cooking and stuff like that. Like it's really easy to hit numbers that are 10 plus each day. And so I would say, as a rule of thumb, 10 plus products that you're using every day would make you a super user. And in order to get to super user, you do got to put in the work because you got to know the benefits and uses and just have that learner's attitude, which still kind of ties into the belief system and the convenience. So they're still kind of like tied together. But for me, it's like I want to be proactive with my health so that I don't have to be reactive later and it end up costing me all this money on the back end. Like I want to save the most money and I want to help people save the most money and I want to help them be proactive so that they can just live a more vibrant and abundant life. Like life is meant to be enjoyed, not sitting, somewhere just throwing money away and just feeling crappy all the time. Like so there's more to life than that. And so for me that's really important. And so as you can see, these are just kind of like 5 of the main reasons that people don't use essential oils, and I have been in all these categories, so I definitely understand if you are or someone you know is experiencing any of these, but you can't overcome them, and the best way to do it is to name it, because if you name it, you can deal with it. All right, and then ultimately, once you kind of work your way through this path here, you can write it down or you can think about it, make mental notes here. Then you get to where you want to be, and that's the ultimate goal, right? Is where I'm at today, and where I want to be is a higher quality of life and saving money. That's it. And I've got those things. I'm doing those things, and it's just helping and empower other people to do the same through education and information and when they're ready, right? Because you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. At the same time, like all this it requires, a lot of like awareness and like understanding how you do things and really understanding yourself so you can make better, more educated decisions. All right, so the next steps are to click the links in the description to learn more.
As you can probably tell, there are a number of reasons why people don't use their products after they get them, and why they collect dust or while they, make paperweights for stuff. And I know I have had to try to overcome all of these, things to make sure that I get the benefits and uses. I understand what my health priorities are and what natural solutions can help them. And once I get all of that information, that's when the work actually begins. Like I have to actually take action and do something to improve my quality of life. But once I do and think about things in a way that is more proactive, it becomes a part of my lifestyle and a part of, my positive habits that I do every day. And now I basically don't think twice about them. I just, when I need something for my health, I just grab it and I grab and go, or I do whatever. So it's all about just trying to get it to the point where it becomes a habit. And just like riding a bike, you don't think about anymore. Just like driving your car, you probably don't think about. There's a lot of things you don't think about anymore. Or eating, you're just like, yeah, just go there and get it, or make it up or whip it up, or so it has to become a lot more part of second nature, right? Or a lot more part of your subconscious. And that's going to be the key to your success with regards to your health and getting the most return on your investment, because that's what I'm here to help people with, is get the most value out of what they're purchasing to make sure their dollar goes further. Well, that concludes today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click the subscribe button so you can catch more video updates, or click one of the links in the description box below so you can continue to get your learn on.